But James Robinson got cut by the New England Patriots. Kind of weird considering that he was one of the first free agent running backs that got signed by anybody. You know, they had just lost Damian Harris and all that, and it was like, okay, this guy could be the kind of the filler while those, I don't know if Kevin Harris or Pierre Strong are really going to be anything more than just some backup depth pieces, but you know, he got cut already. He didn't even make it to training camp. So would he be a good fit for the Browns? He'd be cheap. He's got veteran experience. He's got experience playing very well. I mean, I would feel better having James Robinson behind Jerome Ford than Demetric Felton.
I agree with you 100%. It's kind of crazy because everybody knew that was going to be like Ramondre Stevenson's. That was going to be his show. He's going to be, I don't think it's going to be like Derrick Henry-esque, like as far as carries and stuff like that, but that's his offense. You know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be a lot of extra left over. But for James Robinson is just so interesting to me because I feel like he's a guy that when I watch him, I like everything I see. When I've been his fantasy manager, I like everything that he's bringing to the table for the most part up until, I guess, last year. And it seems to just not stick. Like he just goes to teams and then you think, wow, this guy is going to absolutely take off. And then it's just kind of just to the back of the bench. Even Jacksonville, you know, they brought him in and it looked like it was going to be his show for a game or two. And then, you know, ETN just absolutely exploded on the scene. Like you said, you could bring him in very, very, very cheap, especially you're just cut. I don't think there's a huge market at all for running backs. So look at what's available. You have Zeke out there. You have Fournette out there. Justin Jackson's still out there. There's a lot of
still sitting
running
there.
backs. Kareem Hunt. So there's a lot of good running backs. I don't think he's going to have a huge market. So you could probably get him cheap. And I like the player. I don't know if there's something else that, you know, maybe we're missing. Does he have a bad work ethic? I don't want to say he's injury prone. He's had injuries, but to me, there's just
the
something.
Achilles.
Yeah. But is there just something off? Or is there something I'm missing? Because I feel like he could be a great role player. He excelled in a position where he was the guy.
So I don't think it's a work ethic thing because you don't take over the running back position for he got Leonard Fournette cut from Jacksonville as an undrafted free agent as a rookie. That doesn't happen unless you have the work ethic and you're putting in the time and the effort and you know what it takes to get to that level, and he did it. But for me, I think it's more the Achilles. I really do, because a lot of the things I've listened to as far as like these sports medicine guys talking about certain injuries and how they impact players, like how quickly can a guy come back from a clean ACL? What if there's multiple ligament, damage like Dobbins had, Javonte Williams? It's different than a clean ACL like Breece Hall, blah, blah, blah. But the Achilles injury is something that I believe no running backs have ever actually come back from, except now it appears Cam Akers has been able to do it. Okay. Maybe. Yep. He still hasn't put a full season together. We don't really know for sure. In a stretch, yeah, he looked pretty good, but so did James Robinson at the start of last year. So 1 year removed from the Achilles now, or a full season plus, maybe he's got it back. But man, I mean, he didn't do anything with the Jets. They didn't use him after they traded for him. The Patriots go out and make it a priority to get him on the roster and then cut him. I don't know. I think there might be something more with that Achilles just because of the history of running backs not being able to perform after that.
Right. And I don't know what his contract was, but it couldn't have been that crazy. You know what I mean? He wasn't making like world beater money. Like he's making probably a little bit above veteran minimum type stuff. Like a 2-year, $2 or $3 million, something along those lines. I don't know his contract off the top of my head, but something like that wouldn't shock me. And if you could get him in Cleveland, we had that piece at that, like a $2 to $3 million over a couple seasons. I mean, we're paying Ernest Johnson $1 million just to ride the bench, come in 1 game, 2 games here and there, so it's nice to have. I don't know. It's just confusing to me because I like the guy. I like the player, and I think he'd fit in well in Cleveland.
Yeah, I do too. John, what do you think? Any thoughts on James Robinson?
I mean, it does. I think it's the injury too. Because I think him behind Jerome Ford is really, really a good idea on paper. It sounds great. I think it's the running back depth that we need. But he averaged like 2-point-something yards per carry last year on 30 attempts or 29 attempts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe just didn't. But that was 1 year removed from his injury, or less than 1 year, I think. So now he's got that full year recovered. Is he back? Did he get a step back? And if not, then he might as well hang it up, right? Because if you don't have it, it doesn't really matter how good you used to be or even how young you still are. If you can't overcome an injury, you're not going to be valuable to any team. If he comes back healthy, though, I'd love to see him play for us. I'd like to see what he's got, but it's a big if.
Yeah, you're right. I do believe last year it was kind of a quick comeback. I think everybody was kind of surprised, like, oh, James Robinson's ready to start the season after that Achilles tear the year before. It just seemed kind of quick. He started out hot, but he ran out, I think. And I think you're right. It might have been too much too soon. I mean, just looking back at his stats, I mean, as a rookie, 4.5 a carry. His second year, 4.7. And then last year when he was in Jacksonville, so he was 4.2. I mean, those aren't bad numbers for a running back. I mean, not everybody's 5 a carry like Nick Chubb, you know what I mean? So
yeah, no, it was 2.9 in
New York. Yeah, got him down to 3.9 overall for the year. So, but while he was in Jacksonville, he was still, I don't know if they just saw the drop. Who knows what's going on in practices and things that they're like, ooh, this just isn't working. I don't know. But I mean, They traded him. Maybe. So they didn't just cut him. Right. They at least got something for him.
Right. And maybe the Patriots saw something. I don't know when they start their camps. I know Cleveland's had some they've had some organized stuff going on. So maybe they got him in and they saw or maybe he's out of shape. There's got to be something. Because Damian Harris is going to be tough to replace. I think I like Ramondre Stevenson, but Harris, when he was healthy, it was 1A, 1B for that, not last year, but the year before. He was a stud.
Yeah.
Good running back.
It just kind of dawned on me too. Bill Belichick and the Patriots seem like he's the type of coach or the type of team that might go after a guy like Kareem Hunt, because he can do a lot of the things that Ramondre can do, maybe not the same level now at this point in his career, right. But if that's what they're looking for, if they like what Ramondre brings to the offense, why not get another guy who can do the similar things in case anything happens, or just to spell him? You know what I mean? It's kind of the same Lamar Jackson, Tyler Huntley thing. You got a guy that can kind of do the same thing, that way you don't have to change too much.
Right. I agree.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.